There is one more thing I would like to do to our blog page, and that is that we are going to alter the background color on every other one of our posts. And this will just kind of create a zebra striping type of effect throughout the page, which I think will help to break up some of the content. Now, it is completely possible that we could do this solely with CSS. And in all honesty, that would probably be my first step. But because I want to practice using functions with you, we're going to go ahead and write a function that will allow us to apply specific classes to every other list item. So once again, if we inspect this area, currently each of the posts are contained within a list item. And obviously each of these list items have a number of classes assigned to them, but we are going to write a function that will create a class of odd for every odd list item and a class of even for every even list item. So let's go ahead and look how we can go about doing this. I'll start off by going into my functions file, and I always like to make a comment. So I'm just going to make a quick comment. Then we'll go ahead and create our code that we need to use. And I'll just go ahead and enter the code, and then I'll break it down and tell you what each part of the code is doing. So here's the code that we're going to be using. Basically, what we're starting off with is we are creating a function called odd even post class. We're passing in a parameter of classes. And inside of the function, we're creating a global variable called current class. This is going to allow us to track whether the last post was odd or even. The next line of code we have here, classes, which we are setting to an array because of the square braces, and we're making this equal to current class. So what this is doing is it's adding the current value of current class, which will ultimately either be odd or even, to the classes array. And this is going to ensure that each post gets either an odd or even class. The next line of code that we have right here is going to check to see if the current class is set to odd. So if the current class is set to odd, it's going to go ahead and set the next post to even. And otherwise, it's going to set the current class to odd. So we are going to alternate between the odd and even class names as the posts are displayed. We need to use a return, and this is just going to return the updated classes array, which will now include either odd or even. And then we're using the add filter to hook the function into WordPress. What this is going to do is it's going to attach the odd even post class to the post class filter. The post class filter in WordPress is going to modify CSS classes that are assigned to every post. And down here at the bottom, we are just declaring that global variable and setting the current class or initializing the current class to odd, meaning that the first post will get the class of odd. And then the rest of the code is going to kick in and make every other one have a class of even. So in this case, WordPress is going to call the post class function for each post in a loop. The odd even post class function that we created is going to add either odd or even to the post classes. The first post will automatically be assigned the odd class, and then the next post is going to get even, and so on and so forth. And the alternating pattern is going to help us to style the posts differently. Before we actually look at our code, let's go ahead and save this, and then we'll go into styles and we'll just quickly make a new style. So I'm just going to make a comment. We'll make a class of .odd, and we're just going to set the background color to a very light shade of gray. I'm going to use F4, F4, F4. We'll save this, and let's go to the front end. Here's our page right here. If we refresh, you can see that the first post has this light gray background. The second one does not. The third one does. And if we look here, you can see that the first list item has a class of odd. Here's our second list item, has a class of even. the third one odd, the fourth one even, and so on and so forth. Now there is a little strange bit of margin right here. So I'm going to click on these items and you can see that the list item has some built-in margin. So I'm going to override that as well. We'll come back and jump into our code. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to use our .post list, which we had made earlier, and then I'm going to say li, and we're going to change the margin top, I believe that is, to 0. We'll save that and go back to the browser. And if we refresh, that did not get rid of it. And the reason why is because of specificity. So we're using a little bit more of a specific selector here. So we have a couple of choices. We could either use the same selector, which probably is not completely recommended, or we can use the important modifier, or we might even be able to remove it by just using our odd and even. So I'm just going to try that right here. And you can see that if I just add the margin top, that removes it. And it's really not quite as noticeable on the even classes, but if that's something that you would want to do, we could just use a group selector. So I think that's what I'll do just to ensure that we don't have any problems. And I'll just put .odd, .even, and we're going to set our margin top to 0. We'll save this and go back to the browser. And as you can see, we now have this zebra striping. It's separating out our posts very nicely. And once again, we have used our child theme. We are using both the functions.php file as well as our custom CSS to alter the default behavior of our page and to just make this page behave exactly how we want it to.